and still sees active use. Elsie is the resident artist, though she's not the owner of the shop. It's owned by her aunt, Ida. Ida has very little to do with the day-to-day. She's busy with other endeavors, mostly the restaurant she and her husband run on Lake Leth. Shannon reacts to the TV room to browse the Mammoth's video collection. So Shannon's not coming in with us. Act 3. Or excuse me, what is that? 4. Scene 3. The Mucky Mammoth. The shelves are full of dusty tapes. Some have been relabeled several times, the stickers piling up thick on their spines. Weather. Insert. Let's watch it. The on-screen title identifies this program as The History of Weather, Volume 3, Drought. Over footage of a dry riverbed, the program's narrator explains the differences between modern drought and ancient drought. The narrator proposes that modern drought may hardly be considered weather at all, since its severity and behavior are so influenced by human activity. Boring. Shannon combs through the video archive. What is this? Birds. Inserts. Blue-black morning swings across the screen. The bird watcher tramps through dewy grass. He stomps with a wet grunt and rests the camera on a pile of rocks. Birds, from great distance, episode 12, appears briefly on the screen. He twists the lens by hand, pushing the frame past 2 trees onto the road, and coming to a halt, zoomed in on a fuzzy, fist-sized artifact resting on the momentary stroke of a telephone wire. Shannon and the birdwatcher observe. He breathes heavily, and she holds her breath, like she's afraid he might hear, afraid of distracting him or being discovered and contaminating his perfect isolation. Traffic picks up, indifferent. As the sky lightens, the black smudge in the center of the frame gradually becomes more prominent, but never in any greater detail. It's not bad. Let's do a funeral thing. Insert. Okay, watch. An elderly couple sit on folding chairs in the middle of the TV studio, undecorated except for a funeral lily in a thin blue vase on the table. The lights are a bit too dim to make out their features. She reads from a newspaper with unhurried efficiency. Gloria B. of Munfordville passed away on Monday at her residence. Survivors include her children, Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, and Bobby, all of Munfordville. Memorial service will be held at 7 p.m. Thursday at Hatton Huffman Funeral Home in Munfordville, with cremation to follow. She never knew Gloria. He thinks he may have heard the name, wondering aloud if she ever worked at a cafe down there in Munfordville. The woman who ran that place was once called Gloria, or maybe still is. They take a call, someone who knew Gloria B., if not very well. The caller once installed a satellite dish at Gloria's house, a 900 square foot ranch-style home on 2 acres at a dead end, backed by weeds and pine. When the caller mounted the ladder up to Gloria's roof, she slid open her window and tugged urgently at his pant leg. He followed her gaze behind the house to 2 wild turkeys picking through the weeds. Gloria and the caller watched silent and still as the huge birds foraged, obviously into the trees. Then he installed the satellite dish. Sad. Shannon combs through the video archive. More birds, art, thing, science. Let's do the question mark one. No title on this? Watch. That awful hum. It seems to start before Shannon even hits play. Then there's a familiar room. There are the blank gray walls marked with tape and school desks. And this time she notices a few more details. The murky carpet like standing water. Some video equipment stashed in the corner. A row of lockers. And there's Weaver looking serenely at the camera. As before, she starts to speak. And as before, there's no sound but that hum. Shannon finds Weaver's words coming back to her as they appear in captions on the screen. Weaver, mail, school, and these magnificent, tragic horses. Go underground, as deep as you can go. The air is cool and the earth is damp. And when you close your eyes, you are surrounded by the dead. Remember where that is? You'll find your way from there. I think this place is what you're looking for. Some of it will wash away soon, but I think you'll be happy here, even without the mail, school. The text repeats for a few minutes, and Shannon stops the tape. Kind of weird, huh? We're gonna go to the main deck. Kate and Will. Kate to Will. No, no. It was only a few notes, slow and sad, like funeral music, you know? Will, I don't remember it being sad, just simple and unburdened. Maybe that's what the funeral music sounds like to me, unburdened. To Shannon. Oh, hello. Kate and I were just trying to remember the Mammoth song. Kate, but neither of us have heard it for a few years. Will just found the mechanism. In the mammoth's belly, hidden in gritty, matted fur. Ha! It's like a big music box. A slowly spinning cylinder covered in metal pins that pluck her dulcet guts and pump the bellows in her bowels. But some of the pins are rusted and worn away. Easy to replace. Easy to replace. If we can even remember what the notes were. Did I hear you browsing the archive next door? Find anything good? Where did all those videos come from? People just left them on board. Passengers, I mean. They used to all be movies and that kind of stuff. I like nature documentaries especially. Some people left home movies or little art videos they made. But that damn VCR devours anything you leave in it. It just switches into record mode at random, I think. And picks up whatever's coming in over the antenna. Of course, the only station we get down here is that WEVP, community television, you know. They've got that show with the gentleman playing banjo in his birthday suit. I'm sure you've seen it. Oh yes. And if there's no tape in the machine when it tries to start recording, it makes this awful sound, like putting a squeaky toy in a food processor. Can you hear it above deck? Awful. That's why I put that sign up. Please do not rewind after watching. At least that way nothing gets taped over anymore. Where's this station? WEVP. I don't know. Will? I don't know. I guess I never thought of it. Must be nearby, right? It is community television. Dashel would know. Yes, you should meet Dashel. He did a lot of volunteer work for WEVP in the early days, wiring up antennas and relays, stuff like that. I think you two would have a lot to talk about. He works at the telephone exchange. Will. No, I'm afraid he's been let go. Oh yeah? That's odd. Still takes the ferry to work every day. I'm sure he's at the telephone exchange right now. In fact, I dropped him off there a few hours ago. We're stopping at the telephone exchange again shortly to deliver their mail and pick up their trash. You should go ashore when we do. Ask for Dashel. Call him Dashel. Alright. I really miss a chance to lounge on the beach around the rum colony. And I do enjoy a drink, though I don't find their signature liquor suits me. But this time, I elected to stay aboard to shoot the breeze with Kate over some mineral water. Still, I heard reports. I heard the old man went a little deeper in his cups. Not at all surprising. He seemed to have some momentum. And Patch mixes up some pretty magnetic drinks. Oh, if we're talking about the rum colony, I should tell you about Patch. He's the bartender, general manager, creative director. I guess that means he books the music. Pretty much runs the place for the last 7 years. A lot of folks assume he owns it, but that is not the case. The rum colony is owned by a dead man named Vernon. Technically, it would be owned by the power company, who once bought a sizable interest from the arrangements required them a sizable interest from Vernon as a part of it. Wait, let's go back. Technically, it would be owned by a power company who once bought a sizable interest from Vernon as part of a state-sponsored investment program, but a clause in the arrangement requires them to keep their hands off the day-to-day and most of profits, so long as Vernon walks this earth. The upshot of all this is that nobody came forth to identify the body. Patch is a good guy though, kind, trustworthy, and he mixes a strong Mai Tai. That's your thing. Valkyrie and Homer lounged below deck. Act 4, Scene 4. The Mucky Mammoth. Okay. While those two gentle beasts kept things under control aboard the Mucky Mammoth, I went ashore with the rest of the crew to make use of a public telephone. Called into my answering machine, which I routinely neglect for intervals of months, to chip away at the pile. Kate checked in on a client of hers. She's a birth doula. In addition to being a tugboat captain. Did you know that? Clara talked to her sister in Lithuania. Illness in the family, I gather. Anyway, the evening hit a low point. Not much later on. So let's take a quiet moment here to listen to the river and reflect on the unburdened sleep of dogs. Okay. I really like how the use of these lines make like 3D images. It's pretty crazy. Ezra has taught us a card game. Act 4, Scene 5. The Mucky Mammoth. Oh, there's the little boy right there. Clara draws a card. Clara, the 3 deep breaths, 8 white doves, 5 slow hours. Kate draws a card. 7 blue petals, 3 deep breaths, 8 white doves, 5 slow hours. Clara to Kate. What are we listening to? Kate. Oh, just this tape a friend of mine sent me. They live in the desert. Vesenks. Something like that. Sounds good at the Mammoth's on the Mammoth's PA. Kate, yeah, that's the only way I listen to anything lately. Haha. To Ezra. Your turn, buddy. Ezra draws a card. Nine gray feathers, 7 blue petals, 3 deep breaths, 8 white doves, 5 slow hours. Will draws a card. 9 gray feathers. Stay focused, haha. No, I've got it. 7 blue petals. And 5. Oh no, it was 973. Will to Ezra. This game is more difficult than it sounds, my friend. It's not that hard. And we're only how many cards in now? 5 or something? I assume it will get to 52. Yeah, it's the whole deck. It goes until everyone forgets a card. That can go on a long time then. Well, not with this crowd, I guess. Haha. We're all too soggy brained. I know I am. I even take homemade supplements for it. Shade grown lichen boiled with the peel of a lemon, then frozen and crushed with oak leaves. It's a scalp massage oil. You can smell it if I get close. It dries the brain out a bit, which is helpful for a good memory. If I can remember to use it often enough in the first place. Oh, don't worry, the soggy brain has its benefits too. If your brain is soft and damp, new ideas can make a clear impression. Like a boot in a wet sand. But like wet sand, it can easily get muddied and washed away. So there's a trade-off, see? It's a shame we can't have it both ways, isn't it? Clara, what's this game called, Ezra? Forgetting game. Okay. Kate likes to give her passengers the opportunity to make some floating around money. And that lab pays cash in small envelopes upon completion of their little gauntlet of non-invasive tests. It's a project of the university. I think they're studying, I don't remember. The mammoth also collects their trash, mostly shredded paper, though Kate says once they left half a vending machine on the dock. But nobody seemed too interested in the lab stop that night. They stayed aboard and played a card game. I read a book. Let me tell you about it. It's set in a small town in the Pacific Northwest. The town is never named, but it's colorfully described. Woolly, fog, broken coastline. Provincial shopkeepers. The main characters are male characters and carriers. They're co-workers, Mimi and Jen. Mimi is older than Jen, but they seem to be on the same point in their lives. They like their work. They have a playful antagonist relationship with their boss. I actually only read a bit from the middle. The two had cause to reflect on the history of their work together. Something got messed up, a document misplaced, or filed on the wrong heading. I wasn't really paying attention to that part, but the event prompted a long conversation about the procedural history of their work together that illustrated a history of their friendship in broad, suggestive strokes. In my life's work as the Echo River's premier anecdotalist, I've always found that a carefully excerpted moment is more powerful than any epic history. That's my excuse anyway for reading books from the inside out. So I stopped there. My eyelids were getting heavy. We were headed back to the lake, and a chance encounter with the Iron Pharaoh. Oh, Iron Pariah. We're on the lake? I think we made it. All right. Ezra helped Kate forage for mushrooms. On this island, I guess. Act 4, Scene 6. Boys and girls, I'm getting tired. I need to go to bed early tonight. It's a grove. I feel like I'm starting to get like a little bit lethargic and my eyes drooping. That's cool looking. Okay, good. Two different choices here. Kate gently rolls a fallen branch and plucks something white from the underside. She holds it up for Ezra to examine. Plurosibella peregrines. The common name is angel wings. Isn't that pleasant? They have a delicate, springly texture, and they're tasty like sweet moss. Would you like a bite? Sweet moss doesn't sound very tasty to me. Personally, I like to be able to tell where my food came from by flavor alone. I like to taste my surroundings. I mean, it keeps me connected to the whole thing. She lit a second cigarette with the embers of the first one. She trembled, sweating a little under a heavy coat. It was warmer near the door. She was following directions. No smoking within 25 feet of the hospital entrance. She stood by a hot dog cart at the edge of the sidewalk. Oh, I guess I can't pick that one anymore. My mushroom hunting mentor told me it's useful to pretend to know mushrooms. They escape your erudition. The more you know them, the less sure you feel about identifying them. She taps the cover of the small red book she's carrying. That's why I always bring my favorite guidebook. Kate points to a small mushroom growing in the dirt. Kate! Oh, here's an important one to recognize, though. Look, see this sort of greenish pallor of the cap? Amanita phalloides. That's Greek. Amanita means mushroom, and phalloides means, never mind. Can you eat it? Only once. It's deadly poisonous. Death cap. That's the common name. It's killed a lot of people, this little mushroom, including a few Roman emperors. It's a revolutionary. Haha. Even the Buddha died from eating a mushroom when he was very old. That's just what they do. Clear away old things, make room for new things. Pretty important, right? I've always thought they deserved a little more respect. Would you like to help me look for a few more? I have a sort of shopping list. Great. Look for... Actually, just grab any mushroom that catch your eye and throw them in this bag. Let me know when you're done, and we'll see what you've got. Have fun. That's the second rule of mushroom hunting. The first rule is, ask Kate before eating anything, okay? Kate kneels in the grass. She parts the grass with her garden knife, studiously combing the ground. The hot dog vendor tried to strike up a conversation with some immediate too personal questions. She decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he considered it part of his job, she thought, to offer his customers some kind of counsel. Maybe it was to salve his guilty conscience for selling junk food outside of a hospital. There are no mushrooms in the grass. Ezra pokes around the base of a cypress tree. A brownish clump of mushrooms feathers out from the base of the cypress tree. A few feet above, several pale blue puffs cling to the trunk. He didn't like to play in the house. It was always too cold. It seemed to store up the cold at night, then slowly discharge it in his bones during the day, while the sun bounced feebly off the windows. But he liked to play in the woods behind the house. The woods were full of deer. His dad said the deer liked best to live in the edges of forests. Recent developments in the area had created a lot of fresh edges, so they massed here and sometimes ran into the road. Ezra examines the blue puffs. He prods one of the pale orbs with a stick, and it cracks open a little, releasing a fine dust into the air. Felt like the world outside the woods had somehow slipped away while he was gone, and now there was nothing but the woods. He kept going. Ezra carefully removes a puffball and puts it in his bag. Ezra checks out a plastic bag washed up on the island.